It's a battle of nerves, and a battle against the course, and against each other. Yes, man and his machine. We'll find out today on ABC's Wide World of Sports who will be the Superbiker. It's a yearly happening which challenges the best in a sport reserved for those with nerves of steel and lightning reflexes. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Beatty. We're here for the 7th annual Superbikers competition. This is an opportunity once a year for competitors in the 3 disciplines of motorcycle racing, motocross racing, road racing, and dirt racing to get together and to find out who is the best overall rider in the world. And the most unique part of this whole competition is probably the course itself, because it incorporates all of the elements of the 3 disciplines. Okay, let's go now to our motor racing expert, Sam Posey.
Bob, the track is highly unusual. 2 miles long exactly, part of it paved and part of it dirt. The first 1.1 miles is paved, and it's meant to resemble the great Grand Prix road racing courses of Europe. After that, the track turns to dirt. First, the dirt is smooth and hard-packed, like the great mile ovals at San Jose and DuQuoin, but then it turns very rough, like a motocross segment, with a lot of dips and rocks in it. I'm at turn 1, roughly 300 yards downstream from the start-finish line. Tricky turn, because the riders approach here at over 100 miles an hour, and if they misjudge their braking at all, they've got these hay bales, walls of hay bales and guardrails behind that to claim them. If everything goes all right, though, they accelerate out of here, down toward turn 2, a gentle right-hander that turns uphill about halfway through it. This is what the rider sees from his bike.
I'm standing at the fastest place on the course. The riders are going to be hitting speeds exceeding 110 miles an hour right through this section. They're going to be coming up over the hill right behind me. But the big problem is going down the hill on the asphalt. They have to brake and gear down because they're coming up on this 180-degree turn. At that point, they're going to be hitting speeds of maybe 1 mile per hour. Okay, let's take a look at this section through the eyes of the rider.
At the tunnel, the track makes the tricky transition from pavement to dirt. And at first, the dirt is hard-packed and very smooth. Easy riding, like a speedway oval, until you get to this climbing left-hand turn where the bikes really struggle for traction. Next comes this jump, which, when you're standing at the sidelines, it looks very graceful as the riders loft their bikes into the air. It can't be so easy when you're aboard one of those bikes. The jump signals the onset of the motocross part of the track. And it begins benignly enough, with a few gentle swerves to the right and to the left. After that, it gets tougher.
This is the end of the dirt surface, and then it's right back onto the asphalt, right here. Major difference between the consistencies of the 2 surfaces, and that's not the only difference, because coming from the slower motocross section, going down this asphalt straightaway, they're going to be hitting speeds of over 100 miles an hour, right past the start-finish line.
Racing at those speeds, however, is quite routine for the riders we will be seeing in the 6-lap dirt bike heat coming up.
Okay, Sam, the cyclists are on the start line, just about ready for the start. One of the favorites, Ricky Graham from Seaside, California, and young Chris Carroll, only 18 years old, from Stockton, California, and Bubba Schober, a 23-year-old from Lubbock, Texas. 6 laps.
This is a heat, Bob, which contains many of the likely favorites in the overall competition. So a lot rides on this. Just seconds now from the start. They're coming up to the line. Good start. Hondas mostly in this heat. 6 of them. There's a Yamaha, a Woods Rotax, but mostly Hondas. You look at the field here in this heat. All dirt bike men. There's Mickey Fay, number 13, who had a spectacular crash here a couple of years ago.
Okay, and Ricky Graham has the early lead, followed by number 13, Mickey Fay, and number 7, young Chris Carr.
Ricky Graham is riding a 4-stroke Honda. It might be the most powerful bike in this field, and he's coming to the part where the big straightaway stretches up that hill. If he can use that power, it'll be right here. Okay. Now, the problem is that bike is a little bit heavy, so it may be tough in the dirt track.
Sam, you might explain whether or not it's good to be in first place in this particular race or not.
I'll take it anytime I can get it, and I think Ricky Graham will agree, and you'll see why in just a moment when they hit the dirt, Bob, because suddenly visibility becomes a big issue. Graham now about to make the transition from the pavement to the dirt, and they go under a tunnel right through here, and here's where the dust starts to fly.
Okay, and Ricky Graham fell twice in training, going from the asphalt to the dirt track. Dirt track now, and motocross section coming up. And number 7, Chris Carr, is passing number 13, Mickey May, and he moves into second place.
Watching this, Bob, it makes you realize how diverse are the skills that are required to ride this track. And earlier, I asked Ricky Graham if he considered himself a versatile rider.
There's not a lot of guys in the dirt track circuit that are real versatile. I've always thought that I was, so I've always thought that I could win this race, and I've never won it yet, so it's one of the things I'd like to do.
Okay, Bubba Schobert has now moved into third place, so the standings, Ricky Graham, Carr, and Bubba Schobert. 1, 2, 3.
And again, this is the paved part of the course where if Graham's big bike is going to be an advantage for him, he should be able to use it here. Chris Carr on a lighter bike right behind him, the Woods Rotax, so we've got a battle between manufacturers, and this race has come increasingly to mean a lot to the manufacturers. And Honda is well placed with Bubba Schobert, who's moved into third.
And number 9, Ricky Graham, still in the lead. And he has a lot to prove in this particular competition because his place on the factory team is in jeopardy. And the person who is in second place, Chris Carr, 18 years old. He's been active for 11 years, competing in nearly 1,000 events at more than 150 dirt tracks. That's amazing.
It's incredible, and yet it's fairly typical for this sport where everybody's so young. All right, Graham coming to the hairpin, Chris Carr right behind him, and now Bubba Schobert, Bob, it would seem to me, is starting to make his move. Schobert running a very strong third now, has disengaged himself from Mickey Fay and is beginning to be a threat.
And Sam, with 3 going into the finals from this heat, I have to wonder how important it is for them to win. Will they go all out now?
Yeah, they really will, Bob, because they only do this once a year, remember, and these are the best dirt trackers, and you can see this is how much it matters. Look at Chris Carr trying to wrestle the lead away from Ricky Graham. There's not much question. They only race at each other once a year in this kind of event, and it means a lot to be the winner here.
Okay, and here we have Chris Carr coming up and catching Ricky Graham right in the air. And now it's Carr, Graham, and Schobert. 1, 2, 3.
Carlsbad, California. The paved part, roughly half the 2-mile track, is shown in gray, the dirt part in brown. The top riders lap in a little under 2 minutes. A minute for the pavement, a minute on the dirt. A dozen turns in all. It all looks so smooth, abstracted like this, but it's the bumps and dips that give it its real character. Listen as Chris Carr explains.
Motocrossers, this track to them is just like a piece of cake. The bumps don't bother them much. We'd run on tracks that are real smooth and we get up to more high speeds. And a bump is a detriment. And here we got bumps one right after another. And my training and physical fitness isn't quite as up to what it should be. But I've been working hard, and hopefully that hard work will pay off.
Chris Carr, number 7, is the leader right now, followed right behind by Ricky Graham, number 9.
And Bubba Schobert on the inside in 67.
Oh, there goes. It looks like, yes, it has. Ricky Graham has taken over the lead.
Carr is really caught up in a grudge match between Graham and Schobert, who have dueled over the last 3 seasons for the national championship in dirt bike racing. I don't envy him this situation, sandwiched between those 2 former champions.
But right now, number 9, Ricky Graham has the lead, followed by Chris Carr. And here comes on the inside. Chris Carr now has taken over the lead.
Well, you can see, Bob, what a physical sport this is, wrestling these big bikes around this hybrid course. All right, here they come, approaching the motocross section. And Carr in trouble. He slips from first back to third. Our new leader is Ricky Graham. Bubba Schobert has moved into second, the motocross. And it's Graham now going wide with Bubba Schobert.
Bubba Schobert now.
From third up into first in just 3 turns.
Bubba Schobert, who's been hanging back there in third place, now in the lead.
All right, well, that was incredible. Let's have another look at what happens to Chris Carr. That long climbing turn, you see him in the lead there, number 7. He's got too much throttle on, Bob. That's what does it. And the bike kicks out to one side now. It's amazing to me that he doesn't lose control completely here. In fact, he even gets into those streamers there. So it's doubly, he did a good job to keep that thing under control.
Well, this certainly is a 3-man race right now, Sam.
Yeah, but can Carr now make up for what happened? That has to have shattered his nerves a little bit. I think he was riding, as they say in the business, a little bit over his head, and he's lucky still to be on that bike.
Okay, Bubba Schobert, our leader, he crashed Wednesday. Been having problems on the asphalt.
Yeah, he has, but Schobert is the kind of guy that uses his head, Bob, and he learns very, very quickly. Now that he's got the lead with Graham right behind him, it'll be interesting to see if he uses blocking tactics to keep him there.